Welcome back, awesome people, to Cocktails and Consoles. It's Melissa, and we are celebrating the most anticipated launch so far of 2017, hungered for since 2016, and that is the dual launch of the Nintendo Switch and Breath of the Wild. People have been hungering for this game so much. I don't think there's going to be any place that's not going to be sold out by the time it's 12:01 on Friday morning. So in anticipation of such a huge launch, I just had to make a cocktail that was worthy of such a great game. So this cocktail comes in two different flavors, alcoholic and non-alcoholic. So for those of you guys who are planning a huge Breath of the Wild release party, you can make this for both parties, whether they like alcohol or they don't like alcohol or they're underage, works for both groups. Let's get into it. To start us off, we're going to start with about 4 ounces of Asian pear juice. Now, there are some places that you can buy this pre-bottled. I actually made this myself just by cutting up some Asian pear, blitzing it in a blender, and then running it through a very fine mesh sieve. Now, as you may notice, we're not using the normal 8-bit cocktail shaker because this is going to use gin. And remember, the old adage is you never ever shake gin, you always stir it. Speaking of gin, for this one I'm actually using one that I found that I've just fallen in love with. Hashtag not sponsored. Hadley Sons gin. And the reason why I love this gin is because normally when people say they don't like gin, they don't like that hit you in the face juniper flavor that a lot of gins tend to have. This one is not only mild, it tends to lean more towards the fennel side rather than the juniper side. So it gives a nice herby quality to your drink without just smashing you in the face with, oh my god, did I just lick a tree? So we're going to add 2 ounces to our Asian pear juice. Now, if you're serving this non-alcoholic, you can always replace this with 7-Up. It just wouldn't be Breath of the Wild without a little bit of wild. We are going to add a little bit of basil. Now, if you're familiar with making a mojito, normally you would grind this into the bottom of the glass. I'm actually not going to do that because basil, along with a lot of other very leafy greens, has a tendency to turn brown whenever it's bruised too badly. So what we're going to do instead is an old bartender trick, which is you put it on the back of your hand and give it a good whack. This will help open up those cells. Oh, you can already start to smell the basil. It smells so good in here, without actually turning it a different color. And then, with some herb shears, we're just going to cut this into our glass. Now I'm going a little wide on this. This is called a chiffonade cut. Normally you do this with a knife. It's just easier sometimes with a pair of shears. And the reason why I'm going large on this one is because, one, I want the visuals in the glass to kind of mimic that wild sense, and two, if it's too fine, you'll have people kind of picking it out of their teeth later. And now, we give this a good stir. And finally, it just would not be a Zelda game without the Triforce. Now this one is actually made out of pineapple, and I added a few special touches to it. You could omit these, you can use just straight pineapple, but if you want to add a little bit of flair,
take a fresh pineapple, cut off the top and the bottom, and then proceed to cut off the sides. Next, cut the pineapple into about 1/2-inch slices. Then take your slices and cut into a triangle shape. You're going to want to make sure that these will actually fit into the glasses that you're going to be serving the drink in. Next, take a very sharp, very thin knife and begin to cut out a smaller triangle in the middle of the triangle. You're going to want to make sure that you don't cut all the way to the sides so that way the shape will hold together. Now this part is completely optional. Take some edible glitter and a very thin brush and begin to paint around the edges to give it a very antique look. Finally, take some confectioner's sugar and give your Triforce a light dusting of sugar. Once it's covered, you want to blow off the excess so you have a very thin coating of sugar. Once coated, caramelize the sugar with either a blowtorch or with your oven until the sugar just sets.
Once your Triforces are ready, we're just going to add this to our glass. If you find it's not holding together well, you can always freeze it so it holds its shape a little bit better. We take our mix. And pour. Finally, to top it off, a little bit of club soda, just for some fizz. And there you have it, one made-to-order Triforce cocktail. Wow, that's really good. If you find that the Asian pear isn't sweet enough, you can always add a little bit more sugar, just to kind of counterbalance this. This is actually blended with a little bit of lime, just so that way the pear doesn't turn brown, and to add a little bit of sour. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. The recipe will be down below. If you guys try it at home, let me know how it goes. Leave comments down below, or you can find me on either Twitter or Instagram. Would love to hear from you guys, see how you guys like it. Any suggestions you have for other cocktails, for other games, let me know as well. I'm definitely up for suggestions. Now, a couple of friends of mine are going to be playing Breath of the Wild on day one, and I will link their playthroughs down below if you guys are looking for some instant playthroughs, as mine's going to be taking a little bit. Cheers, awesome people!